What movie are you looking forward to seeing? Well, don't get too excited about seeing what was supposed to be the new James Bond film. Of course, earlier in the week, news that MGM, the maker, had suspended production indefinitely. The studio is on the ropes due to debts totaling $3.7 billion. But while the Roaring Lion looks to be going out with a whimper and other giants of the industry struggle to cope with the digital age, there are some areas of the industry that are doing okay. One that appears to be picking up audience is online film on demand. Michael Comish joins us. He's the CEO of a provider, Blinkbox. Michael, good to see you this morning. Thanks very much for coming in and being with us. What kind of growth rates do you anticipate seeing then over the coming years?
We're doubling year on year. In any given month, we're growing. We're growing about 10%. So right now, this really is that we're through the tipping point. It's the growth phase of the market in the on-demand world. And
what challenges do you face at this stage? I mean, quite frankly, when I try and download a movie, quite often it's irritating. It takes longer than I feel it ought to. It's just a frustrating process generally. That was a whole lot easier when you just went to Blockbuster and took out a DVD.
Sure. Broadband's important for this, obviously. We flipped our entire business model from downloading to streaming, which means you don't actually have to wait to the download before you watch. You can start watching immediately, and as long as you've got 2 megs or above, you shouldn't really be having any problems. So from a consumer perspective, I think broadband's only getting quicker, the picture quality is only getting better, movies are going on more and more screens. It's not just your PC, it's also your TV. So for the consumer side, fewer and fewer problems. On the business side, capital is still difficult to find. We're 12 months away from break even, and it has been a very tough capital market the last 12, 18 months.
Michael, I'm not a staggeringly early adopter of technology, so let's put this in context, but I still like to watch things on my television. I am not a huge fan of watching on my computer, although I'll do it sometimes. IPTV, when we start to see that introduced, is that the next big leg up for your kind of industry?
It's absolutely the next big leg up. People watch more hours of video on their TV than they do on their PC, and there's also a greater propensity to pay. There are a whole lot of consumers on the internet who aren't used to paying for movies, but on the TV, they're very used to paying. So not only do we reach a broader audience, but we reach an audience who's more inclined to actually hand over a few pounds for a movie.
Are you number one in this segment in the UK?
We're the largest streaming film and TV site. I think in the next 12 months you'll see many more people coming into it, particularly because of TV-based access. This space is starting to get very hot. But right now we've got 1.2 million users a month. We were the first to launch, and we're number one.
And do they pay you a monthly fee as well as an on-demand price per film?
No, currently it's just a price per film. We also have free films and free TV shows that you can watch, but for the premium stuff, the blockbusters, next week for us, it's all blue, it's Avatar. So
you say that there's going to be some rivalry coming in the sector. I mean, what are the barriers to entry? There don't seem to be very many from an outsider perspective.
The technology itself costs in the neighborhood of 10 to 20 million sterling to build, so that you have something that's studio approved, and then you have to actually work with the studios and get the rights. Outside of that, there are not substantial barriers to entry, but those two are quite large.
We had the CEO of IMAX in just last week, and he reported a tremendous story as well, I think, telling us that as a result of the recession, people are prepared to go to the cinema still, but maybe they're not buying new fridges or they're not buying new cars. Your story is somewhat different in that you want people to engage with the content in-home, and the digital TV is the answer. Do you think there is going to be room for both business models as we run forward here?
There's definitely room for both business models. The theatrical side of things, where you're seeing, IMAX is the ultimate theatrical experience. It's absolutely, you're getting a massive picture. That's quite healthy. That's not going away. I think for us, what we're really doing is replacing the physical DVD. So people aren't going to their video store. They're not going to Woolworths anymore. They're not going to the old Virgins. The physical world is moving online, and we're capturing that. So there really is there's room for both. Hopefully for the Sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to say, when are you listing? When can our investing audience get access to your story?
No current plans to list. I think we need to get the business to break even. We need to stay focused. We need to stay ahead. And if all of that comes, then good things tend to follow.
Okay, Michael, nice having you in. Thanks very much for talking with us this morning. Michael Comish coming to us from Blinkbox.